So in the previous tutorial, I went over light, and I wasn't able to show you here the histogram, but the histogram is really important to understanding what's happening with this. So that tutorial is good. I'm going to lower the light here just a bit, make a little more contrast for the shadows, darken them up a little bit, lower the black down just a touch, and boost up the lights just to give you a little feel for this. And then another thing that most cameras will have is color changes, and color changes again go to while we talked about color. When we talked about warms versus cool tones, that's one thing you can change off the bat, and you can change the temperature. So cools are introducing a lot more blues into the image. Almost if it's shot, you can imagine like an Arctic, that's a little bit too much. And then warms gives you more oranges and reds and yellows. And it's just changing the color temperature to feel warmer or cooler. If you go way too high on either end, it just looks fake, but you can, for example, if this is a sunrise shot and you want to go in that direction, boost up the warmth just a little bit. Tint starts to change other color values towards the purple or towards the green. Again, I don't find myself changing the tint very often, and not all tools have it, but it works. Saturation is basically adding value to all colors if it's a saturation. So the blues should get brighter blue, the yellow should get brighter yellow. And right now they're working in concert with the temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and isolate that so you can just see the impact that a boost to the color has. The oranges, the reds, they all start to, and I've heard this word a lot, pop. But that's basically what you're doing when you're popping a color, is you're giving it more saturation. And you can drain it too. And what you're doing when you're draining is taking color value out of the image. And if you continue to go, and so in that point, you kind of see that some things are already kind of dropping into black and white and a little bit of color is left. And then if you go all the way down, you basically created a black and white image by desaturating all the colors out of it. If you have a tool like Lightroom, then you sometimes have the ability to mix saturation, hue, or luminance of each individual color. So since we're working with saturation, this is useful. I taught it in Photoshop. So if you wanted to isolate like one color and get it to quote unquote pop without boosting the other colors, that's how you would change your blues and your oranges to take advantage of some of the colors that you see there and give them a little bit of extra saturation without saturating the entire image. But that also works for other values, hue and luminance. So again, unless you have it, that's not something that you have to deal with on phones, but it's there. And then the other one's vibrance. So vibrance is there. I honestly can't tell you exactly what it's doing, although it's not quite saturation. It's just giving the color properties that are there a boost, but it's a little bit more subtle than a saturation. I'd probably have to take a much closer look at histogram to see exactly, or just do a little research on that. But again, if you're using vibrance and saturation together, you're impacting the color values. So that's color and color edits.